The origins of theatre, medieval theatre, mystery, miracle, morality plays. Three types of plays grew out of the medieval period: mystery, miracle, and morality. All three flourished in different areas of Britain and Europe, and yet each had a short life. In England, for example, the plays were either changed or banned as Protestantism came into power. Mystery plays. Mystery plays were based on scenes and stories from the Bible and were often performed together in a series called a cycle. Depending on the cycle, the series could take all day or span over multiple days. Cycles could range from the fall of the angels to Judgment Day. A common theme of mystery plays was to show a fall, then redemption. Stories examples include Adam and Eve, Abraham and Isaac, the Last Supper, the Resurrection. In England, mystery plays were performed on pageant wagons. Each wagon had a different story and moved from location to location around the town. Each wagon was also the responsibility of a different trade guild, such as bakers, blacksmiths, carpenters, and plasterers. The guild produced the play, took care of the wagon, built the sets, and made the costumes. Guilds often received stories related to their craft. The shipwrights performed Noah's Ark. The goldsmiths performed the Three Wise Men. The shepherds performed the Nativity. There is a misconception that mystery plays, because of their origin and subject matter, were harsh and serious. Certainly some were, but as they moved away from the church's control, the more secular they became, and elements of humor found their way through. For example, in the second shepherd's play, a shepherd and his wife steal a sheep and try to hide it for comic effect. They pretend the sheep is their newborn son. Even in the medieval era, theatre had to relate to its audience. The medieval audience could not read or write. For the most part, they were blue-collar working men and women. In order for the plays to connect to the audience, they had to speak the language of the audience, have modern references, and feature characters who were familiar to their audience. The miracle plays were some of the earliest in the era, developing through the 12th century. In some areas, the terms miracle and mystery are interchangeable when describing medieval drama, particularly in reference to English plays. But true miracle plays had their own focus. Instead of Bible stories, they dramatized the lives, the legends, and miracles of Roman Catholic saints. Some of the saints most typically portrayed were the Virgin Mary, Saint George, and Saint Nicholas. Few examples exist today. Miracle plays were eventually banned in England because of their Roman Catholic leanings. Morality plays. Continuing the development of medieval drama, morality plays emerged during the 15th century. The Castle of Perseverance is often described as the first and most complete morality play, while Everyman is the best known. Morality plays differ from mystery and miracle in that they did not focus either on the Bible or the saints, but on the common man. The main character in a morality play represents all humanity, every man, mankind, humanum genus. The theme of every morality play dealt with the struggle for salvation. What can man do to be a Christian and save his soul? The main character must make a conscious decision against temptation to be saved, thus showing the free will of man. It's the universal battle between good and evil, vice versus virtue. Which will mankind choose? Everyman is a morality play, an allegorical drama that teaches a lesson about how Christians should live and what they must do to save their souls. A morality play is a sermon that is acted out and performed. The characters of a typical morality play include personifications of virtues such as hope and charity, vices such as pride or other qualities, as well as personifications of objects such as money or activities such as death or fellowship. In addition, God and angels may appear as characters as they do in Everyman. Everyman is the typical human being who has neglected his spiritual life but repents his sins in time to be saved. Death is the messenger commanded by God to summon Everyman. Fellowship and material goods are earthly companions of Everyman who abandon him in his time of need. Good deeds is the only friend willing to accompany Everyman to the afterlife. The action begins in heaven when God sends death to summon Everyman. Death informs Everyman that his time on earth has ended and that he must now give an account of his life. Everyman says he needs more time. He is even willing to pay for some extra time, but death refuses to grant it. Everyman then starts looking for some support for his final journey. Fellowship says he would normally accompany Everyman everywhere to eat, drink, all pleasures or lusts. He would even help Everyman commit murder. But to go with him to the afterlife and help him give an accounting of his life, that is out of the question, Fellowship says. Everyman now thinks that the material possessions he has stored up may enable him to buy his way into heaven. He calls out to goods, saying, "Money makes all right that is wrong." Good answers that he cannot help him, but if thou had loved me moderately, Goods says, giving part of goods to the poor, then shouldest thou not in this dollar be. Desperate, Everyman turns to good deeds. I pray you, help me in this need, or else I am forever damned indeed. Therefore, help me to make reckoning before the Redeemer of all things. Because he has long been neglected, good deeds is in a sorry condition. Although he is willing to go with Everyman, he does not have the strength to do so, at least not at the moment. However, he introduces Everyman to his sister, Knowledge, who says she can help him by taking him to confession. Everyman weeps for joy. Confession tells Everyman he will give him a precious jewel, penance, if he confesses his sins. After Everyman completes his confession, Knowledge informs him that his friend Good Deeds is healthy and whole once again. Good deeds himself then comes forth and says, every man is now prepared for eternity. Every man then prays that the Lord will receive him, saying, in manus tuas commendo spiritum meum, Latin for, into thy hands I commend my spirit. Knowledge hears angels singing. One of them invites every man into the heavenly regions. Only good deeds accompanies him. Themes. First, live for tomorrow, be prepared. Live for tomorrow, that is, life after death, by leading a holy earthly life that includes doing good deeds. He confesses and repents his sins and thus earns paradise on the strength of his contrition and the good works that he has performed. Second, the deceptive appearance of sin. Man in his youth perceives sin as beautiful, like a spring flower, as Death says. You think sin in the beginning full sweet, which in the end causes thy soul to weep. This flower fades and dies in the autumn and winter of life. Third, material versus spiritual gain. A man may gain a world of riches, but they are as nothing if he suffers the loss of his soul. Every man discovers the truth of the adage, you can't take it with you. It, of course, is his store of material goods. Good deeds tells him that he should have lightened this burden by giving possessions to the poor. Fourth, final judgment. No human being can escape final judgment. God tells death that the day will come when every person must undertake a final journey and give an accounting of his life before the Lord. No man can escape this task. Every person will face a day of reckoning.